In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to install all 15 of the essential mods for Need for Speed Most Wanted, and this does include the optional Xbox 360 stuff pack, and what I recommend you install from it if you don't want to use the whole thing. I'm also going to show you a couple of mods that aren't necessarily essential, but I still like to use. And finally, I want to show you a group of functions that flew completely under my radar until I made this video, which is unfortunate because they are absolutely essential, especially if you want to enhance the visuals. Now for this guide, I'm actively going for total overkill. There's quite a few things that can catch you out, and you've got to do stuff in a very specific order. And I want everyone to be able to follow along and get set up no matter the skill level. Also, in the description below, you're going to find links for absolutely everything that you need in the order that you need it. Now, in the interest of speed, so you can just get playing this game as quickly as possible, I'm not really going to be showcasing any of these mods. And I've already made a showcase video, and I'll put a link for it in the description below. So if you want to know a bit more about what you're installing, watch that first. But if you're ready to go, let's just get into it. So firstly, and most obviously, you're going to need a copy of Need for Speed Most Wanted version 1.3. It's not available on any digital storefronts right now, and you are going to need to find it yourself. But you shouldn't struggle too much with that. Once you find it, you want to install or unzip it onto an SSD, and make sure that you're not using any restricted Windows folders. In other words, the program files folders. For me, I just create a folder called games onto the root of my SSD and then just put the game in there. Now, it's highly recommended that you use a clean installation, which basically means with no mods previously installed. But the version you have may already have a scripts folder with some mods already inside, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your version isn't clean. It's only certain mods that make the game dirty, which is what causes issues. So as long as you know that your version hasn't had any of those mods applied, you could just delete what is present in this scripts folder, and essentially you're reverting back to a clean version. If you've managed to find a proper clean version, you're not going to have a scripts folder in the first place. In which case, you want to right click, come down to new and create one, and make sure that you call it scripts. Now you've got a scripts folder, you need to download all 9 of the script mods. So take yourself to the description below and download each one. Just make sure with the MW crash fix, you don't download the experimental one. Download the previous version. Once you've got all of those, make sure that you unzip them. Now for the sake of accuracy, I'm just going to go through each of these folders individually and show you exactly what you need to put where. And to keep everything consistent, this is the same order as it is in the description below. So starting with the widescreen fix, and you need to move both this scripts folder and this DLL file into the root folder for your game install, which I've already got open on the right hand side here. So take both of these and move them into that root folder. Now you may already have this direct input 8.dll file, and if that's the case, just go ahead and replace it. And that's the only time we need to move this DLL file over. You're going to find this in pretty much all of the other mods, but this is the only time we need to grab it. Now you can close this down and move on to extra options, and you only need the scripts folder from this one. So just move that into the root of your install. Now close this down and move on to HD content support. Now with this one, make sure that you get the correct folder, which is this one right here. And again, just move that scripts folder over. Close this down. Next up is HD reflections. Again, get the correct folder, which is this one here, and move that scripts folder over. Close that down. Next up is the FE shadows. Go into this folder, move that scripts folder over to the root of your install. And then we've got Z-Patch. Now with this one, it doesn't have any containing folders, so you just want to select both of these files and move them directly into that scripts folder. Close that down. Now this is the same case for the MW crash fix, so just move this ASI folder directly into that scripts folder. With extended input, you want to select all of the files and folders except for the DLL and move them over. And last up, we've got Xenon effects. So you just select both of these and move them into the root, and make sure that you replace this file that's already there. After you've got all of those files in the correct place, you now need to adjust the ini files, which of course are going to be in that scripts folder. Now I'm not going to be showing you every single option in these ini files. I'm not even going to be showing you every single ini file, as for the most part, most of this stuff is fine at default. What I am going to show you is all of the stuff that you absolutely need to change, and all of the stuff that I personally like to change from default. So the widescreen fix is probably the most important one, so we're going to start there. Now I'm going to be using Notepad++, but you can just use plain old Notepad if you want to. Now the very first thing you got to do here is set your resolution. You can go beyond your screen resolution if you want to, but I recommend just stick to your screen resolution for the moment and then go from there. The second thing you've got to change is the windowed mode. You've got a few different choices, but for me, borderless full screen is just fine, which is 4. So I'm going to change that 0 to a 4. Custom user files in game directory, you absolutely want to change from 0 and type out save instead. And this will create a custom folder called save where a whole bunch of important stuff will be put into. And write settings to file, you want to change from 0 to 1 to make sure all that important stuff goes in that folder. Improve gamepad support, you want to change from 0 to 3, which is off because we're going to be taking care of this with a completely different mod. And in terms of all the stuff that you need to set in this ini file, that's everything. But I do want to cover the stuff that I personally like to change. Skip intro comes in handy after the 50th time you watch them and the nostalgia's worn off. So you can change this 0 to a 1 and you'll boot directly into the game. Shadow resolution, I'll definitely increase to 8192, which makes them look a hell of a lot better. And I'm definitely going to disable the motion blur. Now after you've made all of your changes, don't forget to save it. Now we can close this down and move on to the extra options ini file, which is this one here. Now with this mod, you can change pretty much every single aspect of the gameplay, plus a little bit more. But the first thing you want to do with this mod is scroll all the way down to the bottom. And as you can see, we've got this expand memory pools option. So you want to change this 0 to a 1, which will expand your memory pools and hopefully improve performance. Now there's a ton of other stuff that you can do with this mod, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. And for some reason, Need for Speed mod ini files have the best descriptors, so you should never be in the dark about what any of this stuff does. But the only other thing that I tend to change in this mod is in the gameplay section, and that's unlocking the Burger King challenge straight out the box. So I'm going to change this 0 to a 1. Once again, after you've made all of your changes, don't forget to save it. Now we can move on to the extended input ini, which is this one right here. Now with this one, there's only really one thing that you need to change, which is the controller icons. You've got a few different choices. For me, Xbox One is just fine, so I'm going to leave it at 0. But if you've changed it, again, don't forget to save it. Now in terms of just raw setup for these 9 mods, that is everything. And at this point, we need to boot the game for the first time. We need to generate a save profile and some other stuff, and we need to change a setting. So go ahead and launch the game with this executable. When you first start the game, you want to make sure that you create an alias. Put your name in here. I'm just going to put WP so we can be quick, and then just continue on through to the main menu. And once you get here, you want to go all the way to the right hand side to options, then go into the video options and make sure that the level of detail is set at maximum and all the way to the right hand side. Now if we go back, you might notice that there is no anti-aliasing applied, and that's because we need to activate it in a file that we've just generated by simply booting the game. So now we need to quit out of this. Then you need to go into this save folder, go into this folder, and it's this settings ini file that we're after. So open it up, and this is the anti-aliasing option that we're looking for. You can set it to 1, 2 or 3 and 0 is off. For me, I like to set it to maximum, and again, don't forget to save. Now when you reboot the game, you'll notice those jaggies have been significantly reduced. So now that we've got the initial setup done and all the script mods out the way, we've got to apply the 4GB patch, which will give the game access to more memory, improving its performance. You want to download it from this website, and of course a link for it will be in the description below. Once you've downloaded it, you want to unzip it like I've already done here. And if we take a look inside, we've got an executable, which you want to move into the root of your game install. And once it's there, you want to right click on it and run it as administrator. It will bring up another window that you want to select the game executable with, which is this one at the bottom right here. And once you've done that, press open, then just press OK. And that's that done. Now from this point, all mods need to be installed in a specific order, and now is the time you need to install the 360 stuff pack if you want to. You can't skip this one and install it later on, so you need to make a decision on it now. So this mod is porting over what it can from the 360 version, stuff like the higher resolution textures and the better quality soundtrack, and injecting it into the PC version. And what it can't port over, it's recreating with stuff like reshade and some other stuff. And it does do a really good job at recreating that original 360 version. One major downside with it though, it is hugely demanding. So realistically, you're going to need 8 gigs, preferably 12, and a really good CPU to be able to run it at full speed. Another reason you may not want to use this is that it's recreating a 360 look, including all of that hazy, foggy bloom effect that devs love to use at the time. As much as I appreciate the 360 version and the way it looks, I'm not looking to recreate it. I want to keep the image as clear as possible. So what I like to do instead is poach the stuff the 360 version just so happens to do better and leave the rest. So in effect, we're creating more of an enhanced PC version than we are a 360 version. Even a part installation of this is more demanding, but nowhere near as bad as installing the whole thing. So if you decided not to install it at all, you can just skip to the next mod. But if you want to install part or all of this, click this link right here. And that'll download a zip file, and inside you'll find some URL links. And you want to use easy installation. So if you've got really good hardware and you're looking to recreate the 360 look the whole way down, you need all of this. So you just want to click on one of these, press Ctrl A and then hit download. For the part installation, all you need is the front end folder, next gen graphics folder, scripts folder and the sound folder. And if we scroll down a little bit, we also need this skybox effects file. Just come up and hit download after you've selected them all. Once downloaded, you want to unzip it like I've already done. And the installation process is the same for a full install as it is for a part install like you see here. All you need to do is select every single file that you downloaded and then move it into the root folder of your game install and make sure that you replace any files that are already there. At this point, we need to sort out the 360 movies, which are way better than the PC ones. Again, I'll put a link for this in the description below, and you want to hit this download link on the right hand side. Again, it will download a zip file, and inside you'll find a download link. Once there, you want to select this mod folder and then hit download. Because of the size of them, it's going to need to download it in two parts. So make sure that you got both of them and they're both unzipped. Then just go into the first folder, go into the mod folder, and you want to move this movies folder into the root of the game install. And make sure that you replace any files that are already there. Close this down and then do the same with the second folder. Oh, watch out, there we go. And hey presto, that is done. So we're officially on the home stretch, and the last three mods need installing with a program called Binary. And again, I'll put a link for this in the description below. Make sure you grab the most recent version from the downloads on the right hand side, and then just grab it from this GitHub page. Once you got it, unzip it. Now the nice thing with Binary is that it works portably, so you don't actually need to install it. And make sure you don't put it into your game install. Leave it in your downloads, on your desktop, or wherever you want. But before we do anything with this, you now need to download the last three mods. Just make sure with recompiled vinyls that you're only using the 1024 simple installation. Now the last three mods need installing in the following order: recompiled vinyls, unlimiter, and then the upscaled HUD. Don't put these in the game directory because all the files are going to end up in there anyway. So let's bring Binary back into the mix, open up the folder, and then with the Binary exe, you want to right click on it and run it as administrator. With Binary, you're always going to be using user mode. Now you need to find the recompiled vinyls folder wherever you unzip that to. So if you go into this one, you'll find a simple.end file, which you want to select and then hit open. Now we need to find the root installation folder for the game. For me, this is on my C drive in this folder here, and you only need to select the main folder. Don't select any of these subfolders. When this pops up, just leave it on install. Now you definitely want to check this because it allows you to uninstall the mod in the future if you want to. You definitely want to check this as it will restore those cut vinyls. Then you want to wait for a few seconds and it should say that it's been successful. Then just press OK, and when you get this prompt, you always want to say yes to this no matter the mod. And for the moment, we're not going to run the game. Now we're done with recompiled vinyls, we can move on to the unlimiter, which is the most tricky mod to install out of all of these. It's quite involved, there's multiple parts to it, and there's loads of stuff that can catch you out. On top of that, you need to do everything in a very specific order, so pay attention because you need to. So with Binary, you want to hit user mode again, and this time we are finding the unlimiter mod. And then go into that folder and you should find another .end file. Select this and press open. And again, we need to find the root folder for our game install, which for me is in this folder. And again, only select the main folder and don't select any subfolders. Then just press OK. When this pops up, leave it on new installation. And if it's not on new installation, make sure that it is. Now with this one, you want to leave it checked and then press OK. With this one, change it to no and then just continue on. If it takes a few seconds from here, just leave it to do its thing. You want to leave this one unchecked because we don't have a license plate mod. And with this one, even though we haven't got a neon mod installed just yet, we do want to leave it checked. This prompt isn't really a selection, it's just telling us what we need to do next, but I like to check it anyway and then hit OK. And then it should say that it's been successfully applied. And make sure that you always say yes to this prompt. And no, we're not going to launch the game just yet. At this point with the unlimiter, we need to do what that prompt asks us to, which is save our profiles, which stops a whole bunch of bad stuff from happening. So go ahead and start the game. When you get to the main menu, you want to come over to Alias Manager, and then you want to go over to Save, and just go ahead and save it. Now, if you've got multiple profiles, you don't want to save all of these in one go. You want to save one, and then restart it, and then save the next. If after you save your card disappears or glitches out, don't panic, it does fix itself. Once you saved your profile, you want to quit out the game and bring yourself back to binary because we need to install an additional part of the unlimiter. So you want to hit user mode, and we're going to be using the exact same .end file that we used for this mod earlier on. So select that and press open. Then you want to select the root folder for the game install, which is in this folder for me, I always lose it. And again, make sure you only select the main folder, none of the subfolders. Then just press OK. Instead of using new installation here, we're going with continue installation. So once you've done that, hit OK, and then it should say success. Press OK, again, say yes to this prompt, and no, we're not going to be launching the game. Now the last part of the unlimiter, we need to install with NFS VLTED, and I'll put a link for this in the description below. Just grab it with this download link right here. This program, like binary, doesn't need installing, and you don't need to put it into your game folder. But when you launch the exe, make sure you right click on it and run it as administrator. Then you want to come up to File on the top left hand corner and hit Open. And again, we're finding the root folder for the game install. Let's find that. There we go, there it is. And again, don't select any of the subfolders, get the main one. Then you want to go back up to File and then come down to Import, and we're going to be importing a mod script. At this point, you need to find the mod folder for the unlimiter and make sure that you select this file right here. Then just press open, and now you can just hit install. And the final thing you need to do is come back up to File and make sure that you save it. That is hugely important. Now you can close this down and we are done with the unlimiter. So the last mod we're going to install is the upscaled HUD. So we're going to be using binary again, so bring this back up and don't forget to run this as administrator. As per usual, you'll want to hit user mode, and now you need to find a folder for the upscaled HUD, wherever you've unzipped that to. Go into the folder and you should find another .end file. Select it and press open. And as per usual, you need to find your game install here and select it. Don't select any of the subfolders, select the main folder, then hit OK. At this point, it might look like binary's crashed, but it hasn't, it's just doing its thing in the background. Just be patient. When this does eventually pop up, you want to change it to yes because we do have the unlimiter. You want to leave this on English unless Russian is your preferred language. With the grid style, you've got two different choices, custom vanilla and AI upscaled. For me personally, I prefer custom vanilla, so that's what we're going to go with. We don't have race fixes installed, so we're going to leave this on no. Again, it's going to take a few seconds from here to do its thing. And once it's done, it should say it's been successfully applied. Hit OK, say yes to this one, and no, we're not going to start the game just yet. Now we've got all the essential mods installed, there's one more really important thing that you need to know about, which is the visual treatment settings. The reason visual treatment is so important is because with it, you can reduce or completely remove the bloom. The bloom in this game, in my opinion, is pretty offensive. It's the main gripe I have with this game's visuals, even after all the mods have been applied. So for me, I'm going to reduce or completely remove it. But you may not be of the same opinion. You might want to retain the bloom or even increase it. Until making this video, I completely missed these settings. But before you think I'm a complete dumbass, let me show you how to set it up and why they're so easily missed. So the visual treatment settings belong inside the extra options ini file, which is a mod we've already got installed. But if you take a look inside that ini file, there's absolutely nothing on visual treatment. And that's because we need to add it to the ini file ourselves. These are not in the ini file in the first place, which is why I missed them. Now, if you're using all of the Xbox 360 stuff pack, you don't want to use this because essentially everything is predefined and set exactly how it needs to be. You can use this if you're using the part install or you're not using the 360 stuff pack at all. To activate visual treatment and override the defaults, you need to change this option from a 0 to a 1. Now you can change the color bloom intensity, but you can also change the black bloom intensity. On top of that, you can change the saturation and the RGB for all of the in-game graphics. And all of this in conjunction allows you to create some truly unique looks. Visual treatment is the sandbox where you can change the visuals to your personal preference. Now I'm going to put this in the description below so you can just copy and paste it along with a preset that I personally like to use. And I'm going to put a link that will take you to some other presets. Now there are 3 additional mods that aren't necessarily essential, but I still like to use. And this is the Xbox Rain, Race Fixes, and 8K Textures. The Xbox Rain just comes down to personal preference. Do you prefer the PC version Rain or the Xbox Rain? With this mod, you get the choice. And all you need to do is download the scripts and put them in that scripts folder. You've already got all of this. The race fixes restore some cut content, race icons, and some other gameplay stuff, all based around the races. And the reason this isn't essential is because it changes the gameplay. So if you want to keep that authentic to how you remember it, don't use this. But if you want to enhance it like I do, just go ahead and use it. It's a simple binary mod with no multiple choice crap. Just remember to run binary as administrator. 8K Textures is doing exactly what you think it's doing, but to use this, you must have the Xbox 360 stuff pack already installed, and that's the part installation or the full installation. For me, the main benefit of this is that it replaces those super low resolution roads, and everything else is really just a bonus. Now to install this, all you got to do is put the files in the correct folders and replace where you need to. Super simple stuff. Now of course, you don't have to stop there, and there are more mods for this game than you can shake a stick at. Just make sure that any mods that you apply from here are compatible with the mods that you've already got. And sometimes, if you want to use one particular mod, you might have to sacrifice some other mods, or completely rebuild your game from scratch. So after all is said and done, all mods applied, including the 8K Textures and the part installation of the 360 stuff pack, with the default visual treatment, it looks like this. But with the visual treatment preset that I've made, it looks like this instead. And all I've done here is reduce the bloom and then adjusted the saturation and colors to compensate. And if you hate this, just go ahead and create your own look or just use another preset. There's loads out there. Now, if you're struggling with any of these mods for any reason, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to help you out. But do keep in mind that Need for Speed mods are vast and my knowledge is pretty restricted to what we've covered in this video. If this video actually helped you out, a like and a subscribe does go a long way. And apart from that, go play the game, man. Adios.